What is up, guys? In today's video, we're going to be talking about top 10 most controversial fragrance opinions. I'm going into this video 100% expecting this to be my most disliked video, but we're still going to do it. So without further ado, let's get into the video. Now, the first controversial topic or opinion that we're going to be talking about in this video is going to be one that most people have heard before, and it's going to be that cologne fragrances are either equal or better than all fragrances that they are replicating. And that one, in my opinion, is just straight cap, because most cologne fragrances just severely lack the quality that the originals have. They are always missing something, in my opinion, that make the original. And while sure, a lot of the cologne fragrances are great alternatives, I don't really think there's many that are equal or better. Now, there are a few, okay? There are a few out there that are equal or better than the original. But to say that all cologne fragrances are equal or better simply because the price is significantly lower, I don't agree with that opinion. Leave in the comments below if you guys agree with that. Opinion number 2, and this one is widely controversial, and it's going to be the opinion that designer fragrances just suck. Now, this is one that usually comes from people that have a deep, profound appreciation of fragrances, and that niche and indie fragrances are the only way to go. That's an opinion I strongly disagree with, because I feel like a lot of designer fragrances, for example, the brand of Chanel, make very good quality and very great smelling, unique scents. So to say the fact that all designer fragrances suck, I strongly disagree with that one, especially since they're making something in the much more affordable price bracket than what most niche fragrances are offering. Now, do some designer brands suck? Well, I think some of them release very bad fragrances. For example, I think the brand of Hugo Boss releases nothing but bad fragrances for the most part. I think YSL releases basically nothing but bad fragrances, and that right there is a controversial opinion in itself. And so it just depends. But to say that all designer fragrances suck, that is an opinion that I think is wrong. Now, the next one is one that I kind of have to point out because I still keep getting flack for it. It's a video that I posted myself saying that Carolina Herrera Bad Boy Extreme is not a good fragrance. So, smells like, nah, trash. And let me explain, guys. To me, that fragrance smelled a little bit like coffee, and I don't like the smell or taste of coffee. So that one it would just smell trash to me. And I posted that video about 7 months ago. I didn't think when I first posted it that 6 months later, after posting the video, that for a month straight, I'd just be getting comments of people disagreeing with me and telling me that I have no idea what I'm talking about. That video, it still makes me smile every time I see those comments, because those hate comments they're just funny to me. But I didn't think that was going to be a controversial opinion when I posted it, but it seems like I'm the odd one out when it comes to liking that fragrance. Now, this next one is going to really make you think about opinions and how they really are, because this one is going to be: no fragrance is worth X amount of money. So no fragrance is worth $80 or more. No fragrance is worth more than $20, or no fragrance is worth whatever. And the reason I say this one's going to make you think is because what defines the worth of a fragrance? Does the smell of a fragrance define the worth of it? Does the performance of a fragrance define the worth of it? Does the environment or weather that you wear the fragrance in determine that? Does nostalgia play a part in whether a fragrance is worth it or not? Does the brand dictate if the fragrance is worth of it? And I think all of those questions are valid questions that really have to be taken into consideration when determining what is worth it when it comes to a fragrance. In my opinion, there's a lot of fragrances that are worth more than $100, but to some, it just seems like a useless expense. It's a controversial opinion to think that nothing is worth more than X amount of money. And because that is not something that people universally can agree on, that, in my opinion, is a controversial opinion that I just completely disagree with. At number 5, we have a topic that a lot of people still talk about to this day, and it's going to be that Dior Sauvage sucks. Now, this is an opinion that I don't even know how many people truly believe this, because I genuinely feel like most people say that Dior Sauvage sucks simply out of spite. Why? Because let's say, for example, let's say Dior Sauvage is a 7 out of 10 fragrance. Well, it's a 7 out of 10 fragrance, and most people think 7 out of 10 is pretty good, or is decent at least. But a 7 out of 10 fragrance being hyped up as if it's a 10 out of 10 fragrance, most people look at that and they're so, repulsed by the thought that somebody could feel that way about a 7 out of 10 fragrance that they lower their rating simply out of spite. I feel like most people genuinely think that Dior Sauvage is an appealing fragrance, but because it is so popular and not the greatest thing, that they just lower their score. It's a great fragrance in my opinion, and I see why it has so much popularity. Does it deserve to be the most sold fragrance? Well, I guess so, because it is. But I don't see how people can say that this fragrance just outright sucks when it's done numbers at the price that it's set at. It's different from something like Nautica Voyage, which is a cheap fragrance. So of course this thing could do numbers at any given moment. But Dior Sauvage is a highly priced, or maybe like mid-high range priced fragrance that has done numbers upon numbers. That's not something that just happens all the time. And the numbers that Dior Sauvage has pulled compared to other fragrances in the amount of time that it's been out is just, it's just crazy. So does this fragrance suck? No, in my opinion, it does not suck. And I feel like most people that are saying that are really just saying that out of spite. Now, the next controversial topic is going to be one that's really mostly shared through more casual people. And it's going to be that Aventus is the best fragrance on the market. This is just really, really hard to agree with. The fragrance is extremely expensive. The performance is lacking. I love the smell of this fragrance, don't get me wrong. And it kind of falls back into the category of what I just said about Dior Sauvage. Mass market people absolutely love this fragrance, but it seems like the people that are really, really into fragrances completely disagree with that statement. You have one hand of the spectrum, which is, I guess, the critics or whatever, and then you have the more casual people, and both of them are like completely split on their opinions. So I don't know. This one's a tough one. I don't agree with it, but it's clearly a controversial topic. Otherwise, nobody would be talking about it. Now, this next controversial topic is one I was actually kind of stumped when I heard, because the topic is that having a bigger fragrance collection means you have worse taste in fragrances. Now, when you hear that, it kind of seems counterintuitive, because how is that possible? Well, the way that the person explained it to me was that basically when you have a smaller collection, you're very picky about what you put into your collection. You only want to pick what you deem as the best of the best. But when you have a massive collection, most likely you have a lot of fragrances that are repeats of each other, and somewhere down the line, those fragrances that are repeats of each other, one is worse quality than the other. Why would you have it if you had the best taste? That's a controversial opinion, and I haven't even had time to really make my own opinion on if I agree with that or not, but I could definitely see why you would think that. But I could also see the argument of somebody saying, well, they can appreciate each individual intricate details of different fragrances that normal people couldn't smell. There's an argument for that one, but I'm curious on what you guys think. Leave down in the comments below what you think about that one. Now, this next one is going to be where to apply the fragrance. Now, this is one that for years has been argued. Where do you apply the fragrance? Do you spray on the neck? Do you spray on your clothes? Do you spray behind the ear? Do you spray on elbow creases? Do you spray on wrists? Where do you apply the fragrance? And this one I'm not even going to give my opinion on yet, but I'm just really curious about what you guys think, because some people say the neck is the best way to go. Some people say the wrist is the best way to go. Some people say the wrist is the worst way to go. Just curious on what other people's opinion is. Leave down in the comments below. This next one is a big controversial topic, especially in the actual fragrance community. And it's going to be that you cannot overspray fragrances. Now, some people genuinely believe that it is impossible to overspray a fragrance, or there's no such thing as spraying a fragrance for the proper weather. This is one that I heavily disagree with, because I've always mentioned before, I cannot spray 7 or 8 sprays of Dior Sauvage Elixir. I feel like I'm dying after spraying any more than 2. And if I was to do that in the 100-degree summer weather, that's just killing me. I don't see how some people think that one. Some people say you can't go nose blind to a fragrance either, or you're not going nose blind to a fragrance, it's just the performance is weak. Or some people say you're going nose blind to a fragrance because the performance is so strong. This one is kind of a couple of opinions, mixed into one, but just the thought of not being able to overspray a fragrance, that one's just kind of wrong in my opinion. And I've smelled a lot of people where you really got hit by a very powerful fragrance and you felt like they just had too much on. Most people have probably encountered something like that, and then they'll say that because nobody has pointed it out to them, that they can't overspray fragrance. So I'm curious, I'm definitely curious on what you guys' opinion is on that one. Now this last one is one that I agree with kinda, but I also kinda disagree with. It's Parfums de Marly fragrances are just designer fragrances with niche fragrance prices. I don't really agree with that one fully because I feel like, for example, something like Lay-In exclusive, that you don't really see designer fragrances even attempting to make things like that much nowadays. Now, sure, you have a few designer brands that will put out something like that. Like Chanel will be like Chanel's line of fragrances are very masculine, and that's traditionally how more niche fragrances go the route of. They go weird masculine things versus, you know, designer fragrances are very mass appealing. And I will say that's what I kind of agree with, the fact that a lot of the big Parfums de Marly fragrances are just so mass appealing. That's where that idea comes from. But I feel like they have a lot of ones that are just not designer quality or not designer reminiscent at all. A lot of people disagree with that, and they think there's no popular Parfums de Marly fragrance that is actually niche quality. So I'm definitely curious on what you guys' opinion is, especially the people that are really into fragrances, what you guys think. So guys, that is 10 of the most controversial fragrance opinions, and I'm curious to see how much you guys flame me in the comments or disagree with what I had to say. But that's all I have for you guys today. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe. If you disagree with this video, leave a dislike and tell me why you left a dislike, because I actually am fully embracing the hate comments on this one, just to see what you guys say and to really help, you know, build my community. But that's all I have. Again, guys, I'll see you guys in the next one.